To Men's Mental Health Awareness Month.
Woo woo!
Also June. Why do you think it's still so hard for many men to open up about their mental health, and how can we start changing that narrative, Molly?
I feel like this is a little bit of a piggyback from the last podcast episode that I was on.
Maybe.
Which is lovely.
Full circle.
Yeah, full circle. I feel like it's been, men have been very conditioned to believe that they have to be tough and strong and emotionally detached, and to not express themselves in the same way that they might see women so much more easily express themselves. There's also the hunter-gatherer, right? How we're wired. Men hunter, women gatherers, kind of, you know. Whatever that means. No, but it's like... All right, let me stop my silliness. But
don't ever stop the silliness.
I know. No, I'll keep it going. Yeah, I'll tame the silly a little bit. But yeah, no, I think so often men, you know, are kind of directed to just have simple expressions when it comes to life issues, whereas women are like very social creatures. Not to say men aren't, but it's much more natural for women to have their little crew that they talk about anything and everything with, right? I mean, get us together in a group of women and like forget it.
I think
you
it's
can't shut us
fear
up. It's
of
just
vulnerability.
we're processing everything. Yeah.
And like as women, we're like, I mean, if you just think about like women like receiving, taking in, and men giving out, so men have to like project this like thing, like the ego thing maybe you were talking about before, and where women like, I think to be the best that we can be, I think is to be in a really receptive place. So I think men have a difficult time being receptive. So basically being in touch with their feminine, like just being like, okay, I'm just gonna like receive and slow down a little bit and like talk about how I feel about something, which feels really vulnerable, but I'm just gonna like do that instead of like rah.
Well, nowadays it's like the biggest trend to be like an alpha male, and like when you say something about being in touch with your feminine side and whatnot, that is like why would I ever do that to like an alpha male and whatnot?
I think to be like a more well-rounded human being.
Which is I can't speak to that point. Like you'd have to talk to someone who considers themselves to be an alpha male and whatnot. Like, because what you're saying obviously is logical and whatnot, but what they'll say is like, I don't know, that's what the woman's for and whatnot. I'm here to provide or do whatever, or be strong, or go to the gym, or whatever it be. But it's like talking to someone that has that perspective or that like identity or whatever you want to call it. It's like always like almost like talking to a wall.
I mean, I guess if that's working for them, but if they have some mental health issues, then maybe they should start addressing the way that they're thinking about things.
Right.
Yeah, where do those emotions go? Because all humans have emotions. You can't escape that. So where do those emotions that those alpha males are having go?
Porn.
Important. What's it called? I'll have to set you guys up with some alpha males so you can interrogate them.
I've had my share.
But it would be...
Oh, see? So then you know a few. You can bring them by.
But what's your sense of where those emotions go, or how they channel them, or how maybe the suppression of those emotions ultimately manifest themselves in other forms?
In my experience...
Right, someone punching a hole in the wall, for example. Is
exactly.
In my experience, they'll say that you're too emotional or whatever when emotions are being brought up. Like, what do you mean? Like, it's very infuriating to have a conversation with someone who can't even have a conversation about their emotions and whatnot. Like, if they're literally like, somebody was triggered on the podcast. I told them that, hey man, you seem like you're triggered, and that like triggered them even more, which makes sense, but he couldn't calm down to see that he was being triggered, and I'm just like, what's going on right now? Because you're like, we're having a normal conversation and you're getting in an uproar and whatnot. But that's one of like 1,000 different lists of
yeah. People
examples.
don't have a more conscious response when they're emotionally dysregulated. So that's why, it's so beneficial that when you're feeling so emotionally dysregulated, you got to go take a walk,
Right.
breathe,
Even if you tell
do
a
the
guy-
things that are going to help you to kind of replenish and shift gears, like move a muscle, change a thought, kind of a deal.
Right.
Rather than staying in it and trying to make it better because, people see red, right?
Right.
We
I think
hear
just
that
like
expression a
letting
lot.
it out, like letting these emotions air out and not letting them like build up so much. I think
Yeah, 'cause
it's
the
kind
building
of
of
like
tension.
being a ninja. It's like finding like control over your chi life force and being like, okay, I'm not gonna like let this anger take over me. I'm gonna like work with it and like know that it's energy, but I don't have to be like taken by it and pulled into this destructive place.
I also think that kind of goes with the conversation we were having before about like, because like similar to like resentment, someone who has resentment, likely isn't going to do the necessary things they need to do to fix themselves and whatnot. So I feel like someone that's like misogynist or an alpha male or whatever the case would be is all those, or doesn't deal well with their emotions or like communicating their emotions and whatnot, isn't gonna do that. So it's like it ends up being like a cycle.
A vicious cycle.
Like, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just thinking like too earlier when you were sharing, Sarah, that, when you think of like the history of men being warriors or soldiers, right? Or even like when we hear about people going through boot camp, and obviously there are women warriors and soldiers as well in the world, but they've been dominated by males for sure. And, when you think of people going through that experience, they're not encouraged to feel their emotions. They're encouraged to suppress them so that you can show up with
This is so true.
with the physique, the physical presence in order to go to war and fight.
And to not think
there's
about your actions.
There's a conditioning that happens and has happened historically that still happens today. I mean, forget it. We have plenty of war on this planet, Gosh, it's so intense. But where I remember I've seen some documentaries of like child soldiers in Africa, like Rwanda, for example, right? Where, they will traditionally feed alcohol and drugs. This happens way beyond there. It happens all over. Like it's happened in our country. It's probably happening as we speak right now in so many places around the world. But, let's numb those emotions through use of alcohol and drugs so that the soldiers can show up and they can just fight and not be in touch with all the traumas and tragedies that they're exposed to in this moment, because that will break the human spirit.
Yeah.
100%, that level of trauma.
That makes sense. That makes sense,
know?
but that's also crazy. But like, it makes sense. It like makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. I mean,
I
that's
mean,
where
it's-
opiate epidemic came from, Soldiers back in the day would be fed all sorts of drugs,
including like mind
To
control.
get through it.
Like including like ways to
totally
thinking.
brainwashing. Absolutely. I mean, I don't know if you know anybody who's ever been through boot camp, but I know plenty, and it's like, good luck.
Yeah,
But that's
crazy.
how we break the human mind a bit.
So it's like
that
you have
can
to be an
disconnect from those emotions.
Yeah, so you have to like find what you feel like is the right thing. Like you have to find the truth in yourself, I think, and not be a follower. I don't know. That's my motto.
Uh-oh.
I think that's my motto.
We want your voice to
One of
be
them.
heard, Jelani.
Thanks.
Put it back
At
on.
least someone does. Well, cool. Very cool.
But so Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, right?
Right.
We have a men's group here at Evolutionary Psychotherapy and Holistic Healing. And we've got lots of men who are a part of it, and it keeps growing. It's growing to the point where we're actually going to be starting a second men's group.
That's
because
awesome.
we're busting at the seams.
So they get
So
together
there's
and they
lots
just
of-
talk. They just have like a
Yeah, I mean, it's facilitated by one of our psychotherapists here, David, and then we also have another male psychotherapist named Shia, who is going to be facilitating the second men's group. We used to have a male psychotherapist in training. His name is Jeff, and he started the men's group here. And it's been really lovely to see all these men coming out to support each other in all the life issues that go on, and to give a voice to the emotions that come up in any human, whether you're male or female or trans or...
What are some of the big things that come up in the men's group? Like, what are there like themes of?
Definitely relationships. Like when you were just sharing before about, the alpha male and, maybe the typical alpha male's response, if they were confronted around emotions and feeling emotions, might be like, oh, well, the woman holds those emotions. Well, if you're someone who wants to have a healthy relationship with a female, you got to learn how to deal with emotions, because women want that. I'll tell you. And I'm not the only woman who would tell you that. I think any woman would. She seconds that. But really, like if you want to have a healthy relationship with a woman, and I would say the same for a male, because women also, it's important for them to for that reciprocity, to reciprocate that very same nature, which is to be supportive to each other's emotional well-being, right? And to understand where we're coming from. This is all like heterosexual partnerships too. Obviously there's, way more than that. But if we're speaking in those terms, then I would say it's really important for men to get more in touch with their emotions, because that's going to support their relationship if they are in a heterosexual relationship. Or I would say the same for homosexual too. It doesn't matter.
For any relationship.
Any relationship, yeah. For sure. But anything else that you want to like check in about that, or questions? Or?
I have an alpha male here to see if you guys agree or disagree with.
Okay.
Let's check them out.
Those figures, the things that women are, you can't date women just don't qualify for the top tier men, and that is the truth.
Do you believe you're a top tier man? By what standard?
I'm 6'4", only about what? 8% of the entire world is 6'4". I make well over 100K a year, and I'm black at that if you add that on. So just if we speak about those figures, the things that women are attracted to, no, I'm not going to toot my own horn, but I'll let you do the math.
Okay, before we go, what's your math saying?
The conversation and the words that are coming out of the mouth of someone like you, I would never consider top tier. A top tier man is also a man that is extremely desirable by way of his character. A top tier man is a man who displays a certain level of intellect that allows him to consider other people. A top tier man, they lead with love, not with dictatorship. Right?
Yes.
They don't want to control their woman. They want to gently lead their woman. A top tier man creates space for a woman to feel good about herself. A top tier man supports the dreams and the ideas of a woman. A top tier man prioritizes a woman. A top tier man is in leadership and working as hard as he is to give the woman the life of her dream.
And with all that you just said, that was just womanese talk.
Womanese is also 6'4", black, attractive. I don't know too many women in my circle who desire a 6'4" man still wearing braids.
Ooh.
What are our thoughts?
Power to
I have a lot
that
of thoughts.
intention.
A lot of thoughts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Such as?
Okay, the first thing, so that video didn't show him saying any, I don't know who that person is, and I don't know what he was talking about before he started talking about how he was a top tier man. But I think, he's attractive. And so he's doing all those, he's physically attractive, he's financially set, so he's healthy, he's robust. So that's attractive.
So, but his first
externally,
his first statement was that most modern day women don't qualify for a top tier man.
They don't qualify for him because he's so great. So
him or he's saying his initial thought was top tier man in general, and then he was asked, "Is he a top tier man?" and he described himself.
Okay, so he doesn't think there's that many top tier women. Is that what he's saying?
No, I think ultimately what was happening there was that he was saying, I am a top tier man, and this is why. I'm 6'4", I look good, I got money. That was pretty much it. And then she was saying, yeah, all those things are great, but to me, the way in which I would define a top tier man is X, Y, Z, and she named many more qualities.
Which were all
to me,
yes,
it was
yes.
It was him identifying external qualities. Because even though, it takes some internal qualities to make 100K a year. It's still the way in which he was identifying that particular quality about himself. It felt more it felt like it came from a more external source than it did an internal source. It felt like it was more about wearing the mask. I look good, I'm tall, I'm black and I've got money, so like I'm a top tier man. And she's like, okay, but what about, and then names so many internal qualities that he didn't identify that clearly were missing from what she would recognize a top tier man to be.
But we don't know if they were missing or not because we didn't see his character.
Well,
We just
he
saw
only
him.
names those other ones.
But
yeah.
as a human being, like he might have some of those
No,
characteristics.
he definitely could have all of them,
Right.
but I'm just saying that was how he coined
yeah.
himself.
Right.
Hey, if you guys like this video, make sure you check out these videos where we talk more about music, dating, and real life situations. Thank you for supporting the podcast. Make sure you check out these videos and make sure you subscribe. Peace.